Yep, it's 12 noon. Let's call the meeting to order. As everyone is well aware, this is a public meeting that's being recorded and will be part of the public record. There's no cause for a public hearing. Any old items of discussion?
The only item is I'm going to try to get it today, if not today, then tomorrow, is the resolution on the Sustainability Task Force for you to review, by Commissioner Morrison, so that we can have that on the agenda for the 27th.
This was what again? Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, sustainability.
The Sustainability Task Force is the group that's going to put together the comprehensive recycling program, or it's going to assist in it. The goal is going to be to have a sunset date, a deadline, the 1st of January. I might actually set it to the end of October, just to have it ready for budget season. But anyway, it'll be similar to the previous resolutions that we passed, the marketing task force and the recycling task force. This one's only going to focus on recycling and sustainable programs related to that.
Okay. Commissioner Morrison, any old items of discussion?
No.
Any new items of discussion?
If you're asking me, no.
Okay.
I'd like your support in working with, I think what I'm going to do is work with the marketing task force and reconstitute it in order to do this project, which is, I've recently met again with the Army Corps of Engineers. They're doing their 20-year, what they're referring to as their 20-year plan, but it's their long-range plan. It's the first long-range plan they've had since the dam was built. So I was under the impression that they had a long-range plan that they were operating under. It's actually the original plan that they had in order to take care of the various properties that are associated with the Army Corps. One of the items that we've identified through the marketing task force as a priority is the boat launch. It's next to the dam. And the visitor center there and that entire stretch of property, which is all owned by the Army Corps, or I should say managed by the Army Corps. There was a plan a few years ago done by R.W. Larson in conjunction with a few other people in order to convert that boat launch into a horseshoe shape in order to, currently there's huge problems with traffic on that boat launch because it's a one-way road that goes down the hill and stops, and people get bottled up in there pretty bad. It's one of the main arteries for Allegheny Outfitters, for instance, to launch boats as a part of their program. They're supporting this effort, and I guess what I'm looking for is support from my fellow commissioners in order to move forward with trying to secure grant funding, work with the Army Corps in order to put together a comprehensive plan and redevelop that entire section. And I feel like it wouldn't be hard to do. Number one, we want to get it incorporated into the Army Corps' long-range plan. Number two, this is something that we would incorporate into our comprehensive plan for the county. And number three, I think there's a great deal of grant funding that we can pull down for this project, and it would be a huge tourism booster and help utilize that section of property which is already heavily trafficked.
Okay. So mainly though, you're asking to reconstitute the marketing task force for this?
This is gonna be one of the projects that they're gonna be working on. I'm just letting you know that it's something that I've engaged the Army Corps on, and that I just wanted you to be aware of it, so that you're not, so it's not something that comes out of nowhere. They're very interested in it, they're very interested in working with the local government. They're gonna be having an event in mid-May or mid-April. They're gonna be having their, mid-April. I don't know whether it's April 9th or April 10th, because they're doing one event at the library, and then they're doing one event in Salamanca, which would be related to like Owenville and the stuff that they manage up there in New York State. I'm pretty sure it's April 9th is the library meeting. Anyway, that's going to be a public meeting, like a public hearing, in order to gather information on their comprehensive, their 20-year plan. I plan on attending that, and we encourage everyone else to. The Army Corps does have a lot of assets in the county that we need to collaborate with them on in order to redevelop and make usable for the local community. Part of it's going to be talking about the dam itself, and how that is a tourist attraction, and what we can do to make that even more attractive, and figure out more ways to monetize these assets in order to build the local economy around tourism. But that's it. That's one thing that I wanted to talk to you about related to that.
Okay. I have no objection. Any other new things? More project updates? Okay. First of all, congratulations, Lisa, on the great voting machine exhibit. That went very well, I thought.
Yeah, I've got some statistics.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Basically, we had about 120 people attend.
Sorry, what?
About 120 people. Out of that 120 people, about 85 filled out a survey. The lowest category was basically the audio, but I think it's because not everybody took the time to listen to the audio, so that's only like at a 2, because I ranked them 1 to 5. As an overall, Divinity came out at 3.46. Election, ESNS came out at 3.29, and Unison came out at 3.04. Like I said, I think the audio portion took them all down a little bit, because they only ranked like a 2, because not everybody voted on the audio, because people just didn't listen to it. But I thought it was a good event. I had lots of good feedback. I had a gentleman there that was actually there representing his clients, and he went through the 3 companies as if he was one of his clients, visually impaired, mentally impaired, whatever, and he wrote, suggestions and comments on each of the 3. I've got all those if you guys want to look at the comments. Good comments, some said first pick, second pick, third pick, some, just wrote a big no through the whole page. Yeah, I mean, there's just various comments, but we had a lot of good comments from it. Good turnout, and I have a new quote from Dominion that I just got today, so, okay.
I think that
Lisa,
Yes,
will you be sending that quote along to us today?
I will, yes.
I think
Okay, and just from my perspective, the event was well attended and well organized, and I just want to give you my thanks for putting that together. It went so well, and I was really pleased with how it was received by the public. So thank you very much. You did a great job.
Thank you.
So I think this is probably a good time to have a discussion about the election systems and how we're going to proceed. I haven't had enough response from the other counties on the intergovernmental cooperative agreement. So Forest, Cameron, I think I had one or two others. From my perspective, I think that we should just move forward or have a plan to move forward. My preference would be to move forward in the fall. Obviously, now with us being candidates for office, we're no longer members of the elections board. Although we can give our recommendations to the elections board as to what they should do. We have the $50,000 in money from HAVA, and then we also have our contingency fund. I don't think that we should purchase the equipment outright. I would be more in favor of a lease agreement. I think that we should take a look at these quotes that we have, especially this latest one from Dominion, and then make a recommendation as to how to move forward so that we can have the equipment ready for the fall election, because I think that it would be better to have that be a dry run for the equipment rather than wait until the presidential primary next year.
And this summer, if we're gonna, go through that and be prepared for fall, we should really do some planning to get the equipment out in the public, so that the public it's like a public showing. Take it to like all 4 quarters of the county so that everybody has an opportunity to see it firsthand before they have to use it on election day and that sort of thing. So, and we do have one company that is willing to buy back all of our current equipment, including our ballot on main printer. And that's going to be a huge thing for us, that we don't have to, get rid of this stuff. They're going to buy it back from us. So, just as, I don't know if all we're going to do, but only one has really offered that option.
Yeah. So can we have Lisa, like, I don't know whether it would be a presentation to commissioners, but just so that we can sit down with her and have a conversation about these options and then make our recommendations to the elections board.
Why don't we have the elections board and the commissioners meet at a work session in the near future?
Okay.
And we can make that presentation.
Okay.
Yeah, about the.
Lisa,
Yes.
is there any way you can get us the results from the questionnaire?
Absolutely. I've got them here, and I will get them to each of you.
Because technically speaking.
Okay, great. I'd be interested in reading those.
Do you want to see all the surveys or just the total numbers at the end?
I'd really like to see all of the surveys and just see what people's comments were. And stuff.
Okay, and that's fine. Like I said, I have them sorted by company at this point, because I worked on it Saturday night at home, and I got all the numbers rounded up. And I have like a spreadsheet with all the different categories, and then just, I took one survey at a time, and if they marked a 5 for user friendliness, and that's kind of what I did that, but I didn't really type out any of the comments. So I can send that along, plus I can get copies of the surveys for you guys.
That would be great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Because I think that if we pull the trigger on this, even with the HAVA money, we should be able to do it without making any type of budget adjustment, because that should cover the initial payment on the equipment. The other thing is I definitely want an option that involves central count, aside from what we've already discussed. So in case you're, so the difference between what we do currently and what central count would be is, right now we have like machines in every single precinct. So you have 2 or 3 machines in every single precinct. They print out a list of the votes, and then that's what's tabulated, and then they call back to the courthouse, and then that's how we get our vote total at the end of the night. Central count would be, there'd be a machine or two. I would prefer to have one or two machines in each thing where people are doing the voter verified, like screen selection, because I don't want to get into the habit of having to sit and read people's like ballots.
Right.
Like, because that's the other thing, is doing like paper ballots and having people mark them. Much rather have machines mark them, and then all of those votes are put into a box. All the boxes are brought back to the courthouse, and then they're run through a scanner, and then that's how they're counted. So you keep you get a paper ballot at the end of it. So there's a paper trail,
Right.
but they're counted at the courthouse. The reason that you do this is otherwise we have to get scanners for every single precinct,
Right.
and then they have to be scanned at the precinct. And frankly, I don't see the point in doing that. It's going to cost a lot more money to buy all those scanners, and they're going to check the vote totals before they send the paper ballots to us. But they're going to know how many paper ballots there are before they're counted here.
Okay, so let me explain a couple of things. If you go to paper ballots and central scan, it's a little more difficult to adjudicate the ballots, okay? So if you're gonna do like Commissioner Eggleston is saying, is have a couple of the touch screens that, print out the ballot and then go in the ballot box, that's fine, because when you're voting on one of those, I'll call them touch screens for lack of a better word, if you overvote, it's not gonna let you overvote, just like we have now. Undervote is gonna give you a warning before it prints it out. So, but if you go like straight paper ballots and central count, you don't have that opportunity to have the voter look at what he did, or you.
Yep.
So if you're gonna go with machines in the precincts and then central scan
Yeah.
the ballot box, and they print 1,000 a minute. They scan 1,000 a minute. I think it's 1,000. So it's pretty quick.
Well, I think they were saying something that they could do like 10,000 an
Okay.
hour.
All right.
And so my point is like,
We're not gonna have that many, yeah.
like we'll get them counted and just as fast as we would otherwise.
Right.
And
And there is a way to have a memory stick for like the precinct results versus the, well, precinct results versus absentee versus the provisional. So, and we keep those separate now, so we still want to keep those separate, I think. So, if that's the way you're looking, then I can go back to all three vendors and say, hey, we want 2 machines per precinct with central scan.
yeah, I guess what I'm saying is it would be great to have a price for both, like have a central scan price where there's no scanners in them, and then have the price of, having the scanners at the location.
Okay.
Because yeah.
If we go with central scan and they put their ballots, once they print it out, they drop them into a box.
Right.
There's no memory card for the precinct to bring back.
No, all they're gonna be bringing back is that full ballot box. So there's no way that they can count them, so therefore we would eliminate the call-ins. On election night, we wouldn't have to have all those people over there and just various things. And no matter which way you go, when you put it through the scanner, it's gonna take a picture of that ballot, and that's on that thumb drive. So if it comes back and there's an audit, and I really think we need to look at what we're doing Friday after the election. I think we need to be more extensive than we are now. Okay, because what we're doing now is what I was taught, but I just don't think it's extensive enough. But anyways, that's another little conversation. The way it was explained to me, and I'll use ES&S as an example. Ed goes in to vote, he might be number 1. Then you go in and vote, you're number 4. After you go in and vote, you're number 10. Every so often, those numbers get shuffled. So you might be 100 at the end of the night, and you might be 20, and you might be 15. So the random numbers don't stay the same during the day. You see where I'm going?
I have no idea where you're.
Okay, so when
No
you,
one would be able to tell who you voted for.
right, so if Ed's the first one in, they could look at Watson Township and look at the NLV book and say, oh, Ed's number 1, so okay, here's Ed's ballot. By the end of the night, he could be vote number 100, because it's the same now. Every time you go to vote, you're assigned a random number, okay? It's the same thing, only they're shuffled throughout the day,
Yeah,
so that it doesn't stay the same as when you voted. Do you see what I mean?
yeah, I mean, the important thing is that you end up with the same number of ballots that you had voters.
Correct.
Like,
And another thing is, like, the state's gonna start doing audits, random audits, so they can text or call me and say, we want you to audit ballot 500, 200, 100, 50, and you can go in and you can pull out those ballots, and it'll be a full picture of that ballot to audit it, right? Same with the write-ins. The write-ins are like, it'll be a picture of that person's write-in. And if it's on the absentees, it's gonna be the handwritten one, where on the ballots it'll be the typed one. So you can sort those. I use Clay Camp as an example because he always goes on the opposite side. You can group all those under him, and that's something that should be done with the election board on Friday morning. See,
What, how long do we have to keep the paper trail? Like,
I think we have to keep the ballots 24 months.
oh, dude, it's 2 years. Wow, I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah.
well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's 2 years.
okay,
But,
that's good.
so you want any quote from each of them for central scan with just the machines, and then the machines plus a scanner in the poll.
Yeah,
So you want the two? Okay.
Yeah, I can't speak for anybody else. I just have a problem with it just being a straight paper ballot, because if we were gonna do central scan,
You couldn't
because-
do central scan on a straight paper ballot because the voter wouldn't have the opportunity to realize that they've done something wrong with their ballot, and then that vote would be totally wiped out.
well, I mean, that's my concern.
Yeah.
Is that's what would, there'd be a lot of potential for that to happen, whereas with the machines, they are basically forced to make to make a
Right.
choice.
Right.
And that there's no way to overvote or make notes on the ballot and all that kind of stuff.
And the scanners are also printers, so that would eliminate my ballot on demand printer, because I can print them like I do now,
Mhm.
okay? And these scanners will accommodate, you guys all saw the strips. It'll accommodate that size,
Yeah, because they just
or
have,
it'll accommodate 8.5 by 11, you know.
yeah, I mean, basically what we do is we buy a stock of like cards that go in
Yeah.
the machine, and then that's what prints the ballot. So it's not
Right.
like we have to print ballots either,
No.
which is a huge pain in the
No.
butt.
We just have to make sure we educate the people that when that tape comes out, their vote has not been cast until it's ran through either a scanner at the precinct or a scanner here.
Mhm.
We have to educate the voters in that, because if they, they print it out and they say, oh, I'm done, I've got my ballot in hand and I'm gonna go home, you
Yeah,
know.
make sure that they put it in the
So
box, yeah.
that vote wouldn't have been cast if they walk out with their slip of paper, whether it's big or small.
Yeah.
So, does that all make sense? Okay.
Anything more? All right, Lisa, could you work with Pam to find a work session that works for the Board of Elections to join us and when you're ready?
Okay.
I do agree that if we could get this done before the fall.
Absolutely. It's gonna be so much nicer to roll it out in the fall rather than presidential election or presidential primary, because there again, you gotta figure presidential primary is moved up a month. That's in April, so that gives us less time for voter education, where this is we have all summer.
Why do we have to do our primary so early? Why can't we get the state to move that back so that we don't have to freeze all that stuff and get petitions? It is, they do it in February, it's like the worst
Yeah.
month of the year to go do that. And everybody else does their primaries like later in the year, like it just doesn't make any sense.
Why do we have primaries?
It's the party's way of picking their candidates for the fall election.
Why can't we have a list of candidates in the fall election and let us make a choice for 1, 2, or 3, whatever office? Primaries to me don't make sense.
That's election reform, you'd have to.
Yeah, I know, you have to do
Lisa,
it.
you're supposed to fix this stuff, please. That's why you're getting all the
First
chocolate.
April works for you. Mark that down, man. First April works for them.
Okay. We are still on project updates, any projects? More Commissioner Addison? Yeah.
I know that next week there will not be a work session.
Right,
That is the CCAP conference,
right,
so we did not schedule one.
right.
What about April 1st?
Oh, right,
Commissioner Kaplan will be gone that week.
right.
I'd be fine having one still. You know, if worse comes to worse, then it'll just be really short.
Okay, it's still advertised, right? Okay.
But not, don't,
Not for April first,
Yeah, right. I do want to be part of the discussion, I do not want to do it while I'm on honeymoon.
No, we won't do that to you.
Okay, so you'll continue on with that meeting. Any other updates? Anything to know on your schedules?
Yeah.
Mr. Scully?
I know you're gonna be on your honeymoon, and we're still gonna have the work session on April 1st, correct?
Yes.
Do we have to have a proper agenda to have a work, do you have to have a proper agenda? What I'm saying is, do 2 of the commissioners of the 3 have to be here, and if the one is on the phone? Or can we have a work session with just one commissioner here?
It'll
guess
be
you can.
fine.
The county, we looked at this before, you can, and in fact, if none of the commissioners can come, the chief clerk can still have a work
Okay.
session and open.
I just wanted to verify that, thank you.
Okay, we don't have anything to bring up on the commissioner's meeting, since that's the 27th.
Week from Wednesday.
Okay. Department updates.
I'll be at a conference on Friday, but Thursday and Friday.
Okay. Oh, what's your conference? It's Harrisburg?
Nancy Greensburg.
Oh, okay.
How did the event
Just
Saturday
over.
go?
It went really well. It was, we had a few people that didn't show up because they were sick, but overall we had a good meal, and
Yeah, I wanted to go, but everybody's winked out.
we were told he was sick.
Yeah.
Kind of put Commissioner Kaplan on the spot and had him do grades.
Okay. Anything on your schedule now? Just highlight that at the end of the weekend, I'm going to CCAP, so I'll be gone Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Come back Wednesday, but I'll probably only be in the office Wednesday and Thursday. Most likely I will get roped into wedding preparation stuff on Friday.
Roy did too.
Maybe you better not come Thursday either, because you may get free roll.
This is what we refer to as the reverse shotgun wedding.
Okay. If there's nothing else, I don't believe there's any cause for executive session. One thing to note is that we will be, the commissioners are meeting with the governor's office, I believe just to talk about the Restore Pennsylvania project, whatever that is, here at 2 o'clock. I don't think it's necessarily public, but I also don't think it's necessarily private.